Hello, Stoney fam, and welcome back to TokeTalks with Tia. So now this is episode number 14. So thank you guys for listening, and welcome back. So happy hump day, guys. Hope you all having a really good Wednesday. I got my bong in front of me. Got the grinder ready. Gonna be taking some weeds out of that. Gonna pack that right now. And get going on some talking with you guys. So I'm kind of just feel like spewing a little bit today. Kind of what's just on my mind. Nothing really a set topic that I had in mind planned to talk about. I kind of just pulled out my recorder and just recording device and decided that I wanted to get going and talk to you guys. So, yeah. So something that's been on my mind lately is just other females. Not just in the sexy ways, because, I mean, yeah, I love girls, duh. But every time I try to befriend them, and I'm talking, like, in real life. I'm not saying, like, on the internet and stuff. Because I feel like I have a way better time talking to them, like, other females all over the place, like from other places, than I do from around near me. But yeah, I have a really hard time being friends with other females because lately they've all just turned out to be backstabbing hoes. So yeah, but men are like that too, so I'm not just saying women. And this year alone, I have cut off 2 people of which that were really close friends of mine. 2 really close friends of mine. A couple more that weren't really like my best friends, but people that I would have considered my friends about a year ago. I realized that, and so this especially was something that was going on in my mind, why I started distancing myself from certain people, was I was going through a really traumatic time in my life, on top of grieving from the loss of losing my boyfriend at the time, but also just other traumatic stuff that I was dealing with at the time. And also health reasons. I had a lot of shit going on. And the people that weren't in my corner that I thought would be, they were not. And you gotta be careful when you trust girls these days, because they can be fucking mean. And it's even worse too when you're stuck working with mean girls, because it's not like in an everyday situation where, like, you know, you're out in the street and you got somebody just being fucking rude to you, or wherever they're being rude to you on the internet or whatever, just disrespecting you rather. Rude, disrespectful, whatever the fuck they're doing. You cannot respond the way that you want to if you were, like, at work. And I personally had dealt with this in the last place that I'd worked, but in a couple other places that I've worked too. Like, this is just something that happens. You're going to work alongside people that you don't get along with. That's life. You're not going to like every single person that you encounter in your life. But you do need to, as a mature adult, find an understanding where you can get some common ground and just work alongside each other without having an issue. Although I'd worked with some really childish bitches that didn't understand that, or just didn't give a fuck, and were just too entitled. Whatever the fucking reason they had. I was not treated so well. So that is something I will not put up with in the next place that I work at. Nobody will be disrespecting me. I don't care who you are, customer or not. And when I say that, I don't mean like, yes, in a retail setting, you're going to be disrespected by customers. What I mean by that is I will not be, feeling assaulted, or, and by that I mean verbally assaulted or anything like that. I'm not putting up with that. No, absolutely not. That is my boundaries, and I'm going to respect my own boundaries. That's not okay. I will not accept it. Speaking on that topic, this one fucking weird guy, he would come in and he bought quite a lot of products, so, like, he was a pretty big customer. He wasn't, like, a regular. He didn't come in all the time, but when he did, it was kind of like all of us girls were just like, ugh. And some of us would just go out back and hide, honestly, because we didn't want to deal with the guy. He was a creep. One of which was my closest friends at the time. She worked with me, alongside with me. We are not friends anymore. I've actually talked about it before. You probably don't know exactly what I'm talking about, because I'm not going to specify at the moment. I don't feel like it. But anyway, he was especially creepy to her, and he even came in one day and brought in thongs, like literally thongs with his logo on it for his company or whatever. And apparently my GMs and bosses didn't think that was inappropriate enough to ban the guy, which he should have been, because that's so creepy. I mean, you cannot come into a workplace, an establishment, and bring a thong to any of the female employees at any fucking job that I've ever heard of. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's so creepy and weird. And, like, stuff like this would happen all the time. Like, creepers would just come in and, see our names on our name tags. Like, I would just turn mine around. Like, I had my fake name, which was Toasted Tia. Like, I'm not going to have my real name with my badge on the front of it. Like, I would just turn it, because I'm not going to deal with creeps trying to hit on me all day. Even when I had a boyfriend, like, it would just happen all the time. And it's something us females got to deal with all the time, and it sucks. It really sucks, guys. Like, if you're any males listening to this, yeah, I know it sucks being a guy too, but you guys don't have any fucking idea how scary it is sometimes being a woman, because we don't know how to react to stuff like that sometimes. We really don't. We're scared. I know that there's been plenty of times that I've put up with disgusting behavior from men, especially older men too, and just let it happen because I'm either at work or I'm in a very scared situation, even at work in a scared situation, whatever it may be, and I just don't want to respond the way I'd like to because I'm scared. Because there's a lot of fucking people out there in the world that are fucking tapped and will snap and kill you just for rejecting them. There's plenty of stories out there that's already happened, so it's fucked up. Going back though on what I was talking about with, working alongside people that you don't get along with. If you are working with somebody that is just constantly getting under your skin, and I'm not talking about bothering you, like just an annoyance. I mean like harassing you, pestering you, almost even bullying you, if that's happening too. Like, say something to a higher up and make sure that's somebody you trust. And if you don't even trust your higher ups, then I suggest leaving, because I was so uncomfortable and terrified to even say anything, because this one particular girl that was bullying me and harassing me, especially, by the way, guys, was doing that after my boyfriend had just died. So I don't know what kind of sick fuck would do that to somebody who's dealing with something like that, but she would. And her mother was the head of HR. Still is. So, and she still works there also. So regardless, it was really hard for me to, regardless if that all wasn't a factor, it was really hard for me to go to my bosses and say anything. Because I'm just not somebody that can really speak up about stuff like that. I also, one of my other jobs that I'd worked at previously, I was really bullied and treated terribly there also. Also, I do apologize, guys, that my phone is blowing up. I cannot figure out for the life of me how to turn off my notifications at the same time. It's not working. It keeps turning itself back on and vibrating even though I have it on mute. So I apologize, guys. I will try to tell people not to message me. I'll try my best. But yeah, to go back on what I was saying, I put up with a lot of bullying, and it went on for months, almost an entire year of it. Nobody should put up with it. Don't put up with it. No amount of money is worth it unless you're in a living do-or-die situation, which in my case it kind of was. I was in a very toxic, abusive household, and I was trying to save every penny I had to get out, which I wasn't living there the entire time. That's a whole nother story, but I ended up having to move back with my mother and her husband because of, like I said, my boyfriend had passed and I'd lost my apartment, and this all had happened in a very short amount of time, and I still was expected to work. So I was still working during all this, guys. I only took 3 days off. So every day after I come home from work, I would be screamed at and harassed, even before I go to work. So there was no time for me to relax. On my days off, I was being harassed by my stepfather. I also have videos of all of this. I haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do with it, but yeah, it sucks. So I can prove this if anyone is interested. And not that I really give a fuck if nobody believes me or not. This is my story to tell, my life. So, but yeah, it's been hard for me. I'm currently far enough away that I don't live near these people. Like my mother and her husband, I don't talk to them. She blocked me, so that's a whole nother thing. I try to have a relationship with her, it's off and on. So again, females, they're fucking tapped. There's only quite few, like very few, I mean, that I actually get along with and are good, decent people, because a lot of the friends I've ever tried to talk to, they've really stabbed me in the back this year. And by that, that's why it's also relevant to what I'm talking about with my old coworkers and shit. Like, not the girl I was specifically just talking about. We're gonna call her Croc. She's a douche. But anyway, no. I was really close friends with a lot of the people that I'd worked with there. And when you're with these people pretty much every day, all day, 5 days a week for 40 plus hours a day, you're pretty close with these people. And I didn't see my outside friends as much anymore. So these people were my friends. Like, I felt that they were. It's sad that it wasn't reciprocated, but whatever. But yeah, I'm a lot more cautious and careful now when I talk to people. Like my really close friend, we were friends for 10 years, almost 11 years. And I went on my first vacation ever. It was a few months back. I almost wasn't even able to go on this vacation because a lot of shit went down. That was when I left my job, and I was not in the right state of mind, and not health-wise, just not doing too well. But this planned trip was already planned and paid for, and I really wanted to go. So I did. And I went with my friend at the time. She was my best friend. I thought this was going to be the best trip. I was going to be able to do some things that I wanted to do as well, because we had talked about it. Didn't turn out being at all like I thought it would be. And when you're living alongside somebody, even if it's for like a week, you kind of get to see what they're like outside of just hanging out. Because we hadn't had a sleepover together in years. I mean, since we were kids, so she was a slob. That's not anything really to do with me. Like, that's not my problem. I don't live with you. You're not my girlfriend. Like, I don't care. But she was just not really good to her boyfriend, and he was with us too, and it was just a very awkward, uncomfortable situation. I didn't end up doing what I really wanted to do. The only real thing I wanted to do was get my tattoo, which I did end up getting, but it was a huge bitch to get, and she left me for a little bit in fucking Miami, which is where we went. All over Florida and Miami. She actually left me there a little bit. Because she wanted to go to the beach and didn't give a fuck that I was getting a tattoo that was sentimental for me, for my boyfriend. At the time that we had went, it was going to be our 2-year anniversary, and he had passed, and he had lived in Florida, and it was just very special to me, and it literally only took about 30 minutes to get this tattoo, guys. She didn't have to wait very long, and it was down the street from where she wanted to go to the beach, so she could have waited, but no. We stopped being friends because I had retaliated, and I kind of, after meeting my ex from previously, from my old job, he was a piece of shit and did some really disgusting things to me, so when I was not feeling the best, I did something back to him that I shouldn't have done. I regret it. I'm not that type of person to do something like that to somebody, but whatever. She ended up telling him what I had done, and I felt very betrayed, and I'm not going to talk to somebody who's going to do something like that. So yeah, and this is not the only time I've been betrayed by a friend, guys. Like, I mean, I had a friend I was friends with for the same amount of time, almost 10 years, actually. Not exactly the same, but found out she was sleeping with my boyfriend. Found that out on my birthday. This is a few years ago. I don't have a very good track record with females and friends, but I will say on a positive note, because most of this podcast did sound kind of negative. I'm sorry, guys. I just don't really have a good experience with them, and it sucks. But on a positive note, ever since I had made my Tumblr and I had started to be in the stoner community, like, I've met quite a few people that are just amazing, and some of which I've actually met in real life too, so it's not like I just talked to them on the internet, but they were really great people, and I feel like I can go to them with anything that I have on my mind. Especially, I am going to shout this girl out. I did previously, but I am going to shout her out again because she's one of my best friends. Tabby, you're fucking amazing if you ever do hear this, or whatever. I want you to know that you're awesome, you're amazing, you're one of my closest friends, and you make me so happy and smile every time that you send me a Snapchat, a video of you smoking, or your cute little kitties. It makes my day, so thank you. And also, shout out to my girl, who I'm not going to name because she lives near me, and we're very close, but shout out to you. She'll be getting married soon. I'm super, super excited for her. She's amazing. She's been there for me throughout a lot of my shit this year, and a little bit of last year. We've only been knowing each other for the past 2 years, but she's never done anything wrong to me. She's always very blunt and upfront with me, and that's something I really appreciate in a friendship. Like, sorry, there's weed on my phone. I don't want to be friends with somebody who is just fake, or, I mean, and I'm not talking like, that's so, like, broad, but I mean, like, just no real connection. Like, we don't talk about real shit. We just talk about, like, shopping and animals and, like, just broad topic. Like, I want to talk about my real life, like, shit that goes on with me, like, and shit that goes on with you. Like, I want to know the real good, the bad, the ugly, like, all that stuff. And that's what I feel like it should be with a close friend. So, I do have some really good friends. I will say that. I've had a lot of fucked up shit go on this year, that they've been there for me, and I don't know what I would do without my friends, because I don't really have a family, like I told you guys. So I'm very lucky to have the friends I have. I just wish that I had been smarter sometimes with the people I chose in the past. So now, some of my podcasts might sound really negative, guys. I'm sorry. I don't mean it to be. It's just my past and some of my feelings, and sometimes they're not always going to be pretty. So if you don't want to hear those podcasts, or don't want to hear them at all, you don't have to listen. I'm sorry, guys, but I was talking and rambling a little bit longer than I meant to, so I'm going to take a little tokey-toke, guys.